Yay! So as you can see, we're a small group. So this is not gonna be a formal talk. Ano lang to, bonding, kwentuhan, get to know me. I would like to get to know you as well. And hopefully at the end of the day, you get something from the sharing. And I'd like to also continue the conversation. So we only have 30 minutes. I think parang 20 minutes na lang. Um, pero you can always reach me later. So maybe just a quick introduction. Um, okay, for our agenda, so I have three agenda for today. So basically, the first one is to share a bit of my experiences in the development work. It's good to know that you have some interest, you have leadership skills, and some of you have been doing parang a lot already in this space. Pero I'll share with you also my experiences, and hopefully you get something. So experiences as well, co-founding, leading a youth nonprofit, and share my lessons or reflections from the journey so far. And as you can see, this is a session by Australia Alumni Communities Philippines. So maybe some of you are interested to learn more about the scholarship program, paano ba mag-apply or something. We're not gonna be it's not gonna be very technical since I'm not from the secretariat. Pero I think from my perspective as a former scholar, maybe you can get something as well. So are we all good? Can I see some heart reacts or thumbs up? Okay. So just a bit of introduction. So I'm a development worker since finishing college. Actually, I started in college talaga. So I was volunteering we have an org called FU Tamara Volunteers. So I joined when I was in second year. So after that, my career trajectory has always been towards development sector or development work. So my first job was in a corporate foundation, so CSR work. And then I moved to a nonprofit for 5 years. So I headed the programs department. And while I was there, I learned how to do partnerships, how to deal with sponsors, media partners. Basically, it taught me a lot in the development sector. And then I co-founded, I led different organizations. Some of the logos are here. So Waisili, I was leader of my Waisili Manila Hub. When I was in Australia, I was a founding officer for Sydney Philippine Society. There was also Filipino Student Council of New South Wales, etc. So medyo, minor in org ako yata. Or major, double major in org. I think a lot of you can relate also. And then right now, I'm actually doing a PhD. I'm researching on social impact, social entrepreneurship, sustainability, while also running our youth nonprofit, which is called Okanyang Leaders Initiative. So that's a bit of my background. Pero if we're gonna put that in a timeline, this is how it's gonna look. Ayan, may age reveal tayo. I'm not too old. I'm still a youth, I think. Ayan. Pero I think we can put these different experiences or life milestones into different categories. So kanina parang nakikinig ako kay Jose. Parang ang ganda ng activity because it's charting the future. Pero sabi ko, I think it would be better also, before we chart the future, let's try to reflect on what happened in the past. So meron kasing activity na tinatawag na Changemaking River. So basically, it's asking you to parang ano yung mga milestones, ano yung mga experiences, challenges that you had to face in the past through the years. Ano yung mga nag-stick sa'yo, ano yung mga natutunan mo. So I think this is my change-making river. Hindi siya naka-river na may flow talaga. Pero I think, as you can see here, the orange ones are the ones na involved ako on youth development work or youth work. The blue ones are mga dev work in general. So youth work is dev work, pero the others are in blue. And then the purple ones, these are the ones when I was in school. So first, in FEU, I got a scholarship to study in China for 1 semester, took my master's in Sydney, and now I'm doing my PhD in Queensland University of Technology in Brisbane, also in Australia. So, ayan. So I think the main point why I put it here is it's important to really go back and reflect on what happened in our lives, right? So while we cannot control everything, there are things that we can. So for example, for me, I was asking myself before, should I focus myself in ACADS, like pure ACADS, or should I do volunteer works? So as you can see here, I did volunteer works. Actually, this is just one of my orgs. I can relate to someone kayong nag-share na madaming org, pero I think this is really my major organization. where I stayed for 3 years. Pero I was also part of student council, ganyan, may oratorical and debate council pa, different orgs, ganyan. So that was a decision that I had to make. And then later on, there was also a question of, should I work for an NGO? So ito yon, this phase of my life. Or should I work for a multinational consulting company? Because I also had an offer to work for for a multinational company that time. So different questions, different decisions that I had to make. So as you can see, yung mga decisions na yon, it kind of predicted the next few years of my life in a way. Not gonna go deep, pero I can tell you right now na because of those decisions, ito na siya, ito yung nangyari all throughout, which is something that I'm happy about na ito yung mga tinik kong path, ito yung tinik kong path. So my main discussion today is really about our baby youth org. So as I heard kanina mga leaders, student leaders na kayo, and I think there's something that you can get from this talk. So our baby org is called Caloocan Leaders Initiative, and perhaps I can also try to help you out in mapping your own journey, especially if you also want to tread the path of development work later. So that's one of the options. Di ba parang going back to Jose's talk, he was talking about the star, the chessboard, what's the other one? The mountain. So ayan. Ngayon, I think first year, second year, third year, fourth year. So different, different phases or different mountains. But I think yung mountains ninyo would be, ano ba yung career path na it could take nyo later on? Are you gonna be in the business sector, development sector? Are you gonna work for the government? Are you gonna start something? Maybe a business or a social enterprise. So yon. Okay, so why did we start Caloocan Young Leaders? It's for three reasons actually. So the first one, if you can remember, 2019 senatorial elections. Sorry, there are people coming in. Ayan. 2019 senatorial elections. I don't know your politics, pero we know that there are people who won who shouldn't have won because of their records, and that got us really sad and frustrated. So that's one of that's really the main reason. So one night, I think that was May something after the elections, a few days after the elections, I was chatting with a couple of friends and sharing them my frustrations and telling them, oh, why not we do something na for our community? So, ayun, a couple of grade school classmates actually who I haven't seen for like 10 years, pero I've been seeing their posts on Facebook and I felt na if I reach out to them, they will be somehow receptive of the idea. So second reason would be we realized that we have not done anything for our city. I mean, super BB kids kami lahat sa mga schools or sa work. Pero at the end of the day, tulugan lang siya. Sometimes nga hindi na rin siya tulugan because may mga dorms or apartments, right? Pero the point is, we're not doing anything for the city that we call home for some time already. I mean, I wasn't born here, pero I've been here for quite a while. And sila din. So parang wala tayong ginagawa for Caloocan or for kung saan ng mga hometown. And finally, I think yung realization that we can actually do something and we're ready to do something. So yun yung three reasons why we opted to start CYLI. So CYLI is a nonprofit, youth-led, volunteer-based advocacy org for young people 15 to 35 years old. It aims to create a network of youth leaders, youth orgs in Caloocan. So this is a fancy slide to show what we're doing. So basically what we're trying to do is our vision is youth for nation building and the global goals and different objectives, capacitate young people and change-making skills, mobilize young people to action, collaborate with other orgs, communicate opportunities sa mga tao underground, serve as young people as voice of young people. This is another diagram. So basically, simple lang yung message nito. The one on the left, we want young people to develop in terms of their skills, knowledge, attitude, more change-making skills, more leadership skills. So CYLI is a platform for leadership development. And then on the right side, given all these skills and knowledge and attitude, what can you do for the community? What can you do para sa bayan? So yun na yun, youth involvement, youth action, the org being a platform for change making. So right now we have 10 divisions. We call it division. So climate action, we have DRRM, media information literacy, mental health, gender equality. So different things. May mga naka-aside na officers here. We have different programs for this. And generally speaking, these are the SDGs that we're trying to also reach. So these are some of the programs that we have right now. Yeah, Sustainable Development Goals, we have a pilot program for that. Right now, we're also talking about creating a coalition on HIV and human rights among different organizations here in Caloocan. We're talking about policy, ano ba yung, mayroong apparently may HIV ordinance, pero it's not being rolled out properly. And then we're also planning for anti-discrimination ordinance. We have different webinars, so different things from policy to education to capacity building. COVID-19 Caloocan, you know, our LGUs are sometimes, they're not, they need support to be able to do some of the work that they're doing. So we're helping also in that regard, especially our contacts with COVID. Caloocan para sa campus media is on campus journalism program and fake news training, spotting training. So dami ka ng pinagsasabi, pero ang point lang talaga ay we started the organization 2 years back. Right now, we have over 100 volunteers. We won a couple of grand competitions from Jesse Robredo Foundation and Abotala community. Everyone is volunteer. We're either high school students, college students, or young professionals. Pero very open din yung organization for why need or use not in education, training, or employment. Education, employment, or training. So yung mga walang work, hindi nag-school ngayon, or they're not training for anything. So these are some of our events. These are some of the articles that were written about us, mga different programs of the organization. Ayan yung nagkasunog sa isang barangay dito sa Caloocan. It was during the first few months of COVID na everyone's confused what to do. So ito yung mga different frontliners. We gave them some assistance. Tala Hospital is one of the COVID hospitals na COVID designated hospitals in the country. And then, of course, information campaign din. So may mga ganyang infographics that we can't expect LGU to create. So meron kaming mga JOG graduates na volunteers. So why not maximize their skills also? This is during Typhoon Ulysses. So as you can see, there's many different logos here. So normally, ang style namin when we're working, we try to build coalitions. So we're trying to invite different SKs, parish youth ministries, student councils in Caloocan so that we can do the project together. Because at the end of the day, we're doing just the same thing, right? So why not do it together for bigger impact? So that's one of our main strategies. So I think we have 7 minutes. Just to share you some lessons, siguro. So lesson number 1 would be to find your tribe. So as you can see, yung tribe ko started with just 2 people. Grade school classmates who I haven't seen in 10 years. Pero nakikita ko yung post nila na medyo woke. Diba parang yung term natin yan. Woke yung mga posts. They're socially aware. They're concerned about the community. So they're not even my really close friends. Yun nga, 10 years kami hindi nagchat or nag-uusap. Pero when I chatted with them to start something, they welcomed the idea. So from 1 person to 3 people, we invited my high school schoolmates naman. So naging 5 kami. And then we expanded the leadership, 5, naging 20. Tapos, ayan, right now we're over 100 members and volunteers, which is super cool. Ayun, many young people want to start. That's really a main reflection. Want to help out and start something. But someone just has to light the candle. So sometimes kasi diba parang, okay, kaya ba natin to? Mag-grow ba to? Actually, yung initial idea lang namin would be to start a page. Parang, if you're familiar ba kayo sa Humans of New York na page? So parang ganun lang yung idea, sharing of stories ng mga people from the community, what are their thoughts, what are their feelings. Tapos, we weren't expecting na magiging isa siyang formal organization. So right now, we're a SEC registered NGO. We have several grants and supporters. Ayun, so parang, totoo ba ito nangyayari na everyone is volunteering lang? As in, meron kami mga 5 to 8 jobs. As after office, doon lang kami nagmi-meeting. So crazy din minsan kasi um, stressed out na yung mga tao or alam mo yon, siyempre yung well-being, sometimes ang daming ginagawa, ganyan. Pero I think everyone is really fighting through it. So, lesson number 2, it's all about don't think or look too far. So sometimes it's all about proximity. So check what your community needs. So if you're students, ano ba yung kailangan ng student body? And pag uwi niyo sa bahay, for sure there are problems in the communities and maybe you and your friends can help provide some sort of a solution or a project idea that you can do. So start with what interests you as well. So when I say proximity, it's not just location, but also interest-wise. Lesson 3, be ready to get hurt and challenge. So advocacy building is not always the fun stuff. I always tell this to friends. You can't really say you're an advocate if you're not hurting, if you're not growing, if you're not going out of the box. Otherwise, it's just fun. Don't call it an advocacy. It's just a fun thing that you're doing. Kasi when you're doing an advocacy, it requires you to also go out of your comfort zone, do something that you haven't done before, be assigned to do a task na hindi mo siya ganun kagamay, or spend long hours finishing a project proposal or managing a webinar. So kahit inaanto ka na or something. So get ready to be challenged or get hurt. So hindi siya always fun. Lesson 4, nation building starts with yourself. So volunteer, participate in webinars, feed your curiosity. Medyo hindi na yata ito applicable sa inyo kasi parang ginagawa niyo na siya. So discover different advocacies. I think important yon na you're trying out different advocacies kung para lang makita niyo yung interest niyo also, like pang climate action ba ako or from pang ano ba ako, HIV awareness advocacy. So as you can see, these are different things, right? And it requires different approach, different communities yan, basically different advocacies. Lesson 5, enjoy the process. It will be fun. You will meet different people, as you can see, and you will learn a lot. So, ano siya parang siyang internship din when you start or when you join an organization. You learn a lot of soft skills and also hard skills. So, ayan, as students, I really encourage you guys to continue doing what you're doing kasi may mga orgs na kayo. And also try to be, kung hindi pa kayo leaders right now, kung mga members pa kayo or supporting role, try to get siguro committee heads na mga role or something paunti-unti. So, ganun din naman ako nag-start before. Pahabol, so I'm conscious with time. Pahabol lesson, advocacy work can bring you to different places. So because of my NGO work, I was able to visit different places in the Philippines, not just once, a lot of times, mga 3 times, 4 times pa. So free accommodation, as you can imagine, free flight. Travel, get to know the Philippines. It's fun, super fun. Not only the Philippines. So I was able to go to the US, to Malaysia, to Indonesia, to Singapore, in fellowships and also in sharing what we're doing here in the Philippines. And and of course, Australia. So I think this is one of the few last slides na. As mentioned kanina, I am a scholar. I was a scholar 2017. It's a it's a scholarship, so you don't have to pay for anything, including the tuition fee. So I was with University of Sydney. If I'm going to pay for tuition, that would cost me, I think, around 5 million per semester. And there's no way I could have afforded that. So Australia Awards Philippines provide that scholarship. And not only tuition, so meron din kaming allowance. So we don't have to work. Basically, my allowance that could allow you to pay for your rent, to pay for your food, to even ako, kasi breadwinner din ako. So I was able to send money back home also. So may mga ganong, so as early as now, prepare na kayo for this if you want to study abroad. And one of the siguro practical tips for me would be join all these organizations, be an advocate, because at the end of the day, ito yung tinitignan ng panel when they select the new set of scholars. Basically, they want to see people na doing something for the community, for the country, for your advocacy. So maganda na right now nakikita nyo na nasa school setting kayo ngayon. And as early as now, you can do something. So yung shinare ko kanina na FU Tamar, volunteers ako and different organizations, that really played a big role in my application. So one time lang ako nag-apply and I got in. So may mga interviews, may mga paper application, etc. So some of the photos, ayan, syempre maraming different ganaps. So on 18 seconds. And yeah, so yan yung mga lessons. And for those who are looking for other orgs, these are some of the orgs that I would recommend. So YFILI is a US embassy-led program. I volunteer. They have a lot of volunteering opportunities. Why this is vote? Why vote? Please support different initiatives promoting voter education, especially for next year. I think this is very relevant right now. Make Sense Philippines, Movers, and then of course our local or youth school work. And these are the link if you can screenshot for the Australia Awards scholarship. Hindi lang si Australia may pa-scholarship, meron din si UK, ganyan, si US. So it's just a matter of selecting and also preparing for them as well. And yeah, that's it. I'd be happy to connect as mentioned. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn, Twitter, IG, Facebook. I don't mind. I'd love to. Super limited yung time. Di ko man lang narinig yung stories ninyo. Pero ayan, feel free to add me. You can consider me your kuya or mentor. And hopefully I can hear from you later also.